Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. In this video, I'm going to address the Enzo Fernandez situation at Chelsea. And to be honest, I want to make it clear at the start of this video, we're going to go through this in two parts. We're going to go through and identify what has happened. We're going to identify the responses, the reactions so far from the parties involved, Wesley Fofana and Chelsea Football Club, as well as Enzo Fernandez. Then I'm going to give my thoughts on this. But first things first, for 1 second, I don't want anyone to believe that because I've not raced out of the gate and said that Enzo Fernandez is a racist, that I absolutely do not condone the behaviour of what has happened. But I also want to make it very clear. Enzo Fernandez was the one live on Instagram. But in terms of accountability for what has happened here, the entire Argentinian team need to be held accountable and not just Enzo Fernandez. But first things first, if you don't know what we're talking about here, there was a video that was circulating online because Enzo Fernandez went live on the team bus after Argentina win the Copa America, and obviously everyone's spirits are high. Everyone is happy, euphoric you could say. And the players are all singing various different football songs. And then there is a song that comes on and you can hear, I think you can pretty much hear, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't fully understand the lyrics and the translations. But the Argentinian players are singing a song that is directed towards Kylian Mbappe and French players that may or may not have, all of them or most of them or some of them, it doesn't matter how many, African descent. Now in the modern world, this absolutely is something that should have been left behind years ago. Not to say that it was okay in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s and hundreds of years ago to be racist. It was never okay. But particularly in 2024, this is something that we should have left behind so long ago. And the fact that we still have to address it means that I couldn't go on and make another Chelsea news video without giving my thoughts on how we can be progressive with this. Wesley Fofana has then gone out, and obviously Wesley Fofana is one of the many Chelsea players that are of French nationality who are teammates of Enzo Fernandez. Wesley Fofana has come out saying about his thoughts on it. He's even put the video on the tweet. It's got almost, I think, over 100 million impressions on social media. So now the whole world is aware of this video. And as a response to this, there was obviously going to be Enzo Fernandez's response and Chelsea Football Club's response. This came from Enzo. I want to apologise sincerely for a video posted on my Instagram channel during the national team celebrations. The song includes highly offensive language and there is absolutely no excuse for these words. I stand against discrimination in all forms and apologise for getting caught up in the euphoria of our Copa America celebrations. That video, that moment, those words do not reflect my beliefs or my character. I am truly sorry, which has then sparked a response, obviously, from Chelsea Football Club. And we have said here, Chelsea Football Club finds all forms of discriminatory behaviour completely unacceptable. We are proud to be a diverse, inclusive club where people from all cultures, communities and identities feel welcome. We acknowledge and appreciate our players' apology and will use this as an opportunity to educate. The club has instigated an internal disciplinary procedure. Now, of course, there are a few things here that we need to remember. And the first one, which is, I guess, the first opinion that I want to give here, is that there's a lot of people already rushing to be completely against Enzo. And I'm not saying that this is wrong for 1 second, because every Argentina player needs to be held accountable. And Enzo Fernandez is 100% in the wrong. There is not any words that I can use here or any desire that I would have just because he's our £100 million midfielder that would make me want to defend the actions of Enzo. But I do want to make it clear that just because Enzo is the one going live, it doesn't mean that Lionel Messi and all of the other Argentina players on that bus engaging in this behaviour shouldn't be held accountable. But with that being said, you also can't see all of the Argentina players in this video to be able to say, well, you were singing that song, you were singing that song. We don't know which ones were like, come on, we can't be singing this. Which by default, we're trying to label someone as a racist because we have witnessed racist behaviour being engaged in. And I think this is where I want to identify the progress that has been made in football and not just football, but wider society in general when it comes to racism. As I said earlier in the video, it's never been okay. And it's difficult to find the right sentences to be able to identify how we relate to this, to be quite honest. But it's never been okay for racism to be prevalent and there in our society. But the way that we have progressed is by speaking about it. And what Wesley Fofana has done here could be one of the most powerful things that we've seen. Enzo is his teammate, but it doesn't mean that we should be dealing with this behind closed doors, because the biggest impact when it comes to change in these kind of fields and with these kind of ideas and, I guess, world notions is to have someone calling someone out for it. And I love the way that Wesley Fofana has done this, because he's not just gone and started a 2024 social media beef where we're going to get back and forth diss tracks between Enzo Fernandez and Wesley Fofana. That could have been the way that someone would go about it if, and obviously I'm sat here, sorry I dropped the microphone, I'm sat here as a 29-year-old white male who has not been subject to racism in my life. I've been called a racist because people will say, oh, George only gives red boxes in 6 Things We Learned to black Chelsea players. I don't take any of this to heart because I know I'm not a racist. And I also don't engage in outward racist behaviour to be discriminatory towards anybody else. But the progress that needs to be made as a result of this is educating people on how we identify each other. And Enzo Fernandez, I do believe in the apology that whatever is being sung in this song isn't reflective of his beliefs. But it's also in terms of understanding the progress of where we have come and need to go within society, within this racism conversation, is that, yes, it's difficult for a young white male like myself to be able to say, well, we're going to get over it, because it's not we. But as humans, we hopefully will get past this. But the point that we're at now is that by default, every time someone says something racist, it doesn't mean that they have this intrinsic ingrained hatred towards someone of a different ethnicity to themselves. The issue that we have is that by association, some people in some countries and some cultures still don't understand that even if words can be sung in jest, it absolutely is not okay. And this is the hurdle, I believe, right now, we need to overcome. It's that you can say something with a smile and not hate the black person next to you, but absolutely at no point can anyone be like, well, why are you still offended by this? Why can't you just get over it? And I think this is where, particularly right now, at this moment, and I didn't want to do a video last night about this one, because the moment this stuff comes out, everyone is like, Enzo Fernandez is a racist. And then as time goes on, it's the same with the news. If you watch the news and you look at global events right now, the moment that you see something, it evokes this sense of shock within us, which means that we identify either for or against whatever it is that we're looking at. And as time goes on, the power of that initial thought-provoking whatever I'm going to identify as this, it wears down. And I think what we need to understand here, and what the club need to understand, is that every single one of those French players or even black players within the Chelsea squad have a right to never forgive Enzo Fernandez. If they don't want to forgive him for what has been sung, what has been said, and the fact that it was his Instagram live, Chelsea and fans at no point should ever be like, just get over it, mate. Come on, time's gone now. We can't do that. Any one of these players has all of the right in the world to be like, you know what? No, I draw a line under this. That is not okay. I don't accept this apology. Nah, he's not my mate anymore. I'm unfollowing on Instagram, and I might not even pass him the ball. And that is where this problem goes beyond racism. And it now becomes a Chelsea problem as well. And I'm not saying that it's a bigger problem because it's going to affect Chelsea. Of course it's going to affect Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez is literally front and centre within this whole storm of what has happened here. And we also happen to have lots of players who play in the French national team who this song is directly sung against in a racist manner. The words are absolutely unacceptable. And in 2024, whether it is football, Argentina, or another country that will ranked 120th in the world, to be singing these songs on video impressionably to thousands and thousands of people, and now millions of people, because of the way that this is snowballed, it's a massive step back for football. And we absolutely need to condone all of these actions, all of these behaviours of the entire Argentinian national team. And whatever punishment Enzo Fernandez gets himself, good. Good. That's exactly the way this should be. And if the black members of the Chelsea squad don't want to forgive him, absolutely understandable. I don't want to see in 3 or 4 months' time, when this story has died down a little bit, I don't want to see people coming out being like, Badiashile, Fofana, Nkunku, they should have just let this one go. Because, look, every single person has the right to forgive when they want to. And particularly when this is still so there in our society, I can absolutely understand why this example of racism in football is going to be one of the big stories. It's going to be one of the big ones that make us think, well, all of this work that we have done to try and eradicate this from our sport, eradicate this from the world, and then the Argentina players who have just won Copa America, one of their team members can just be on Instagram Live and they're singing this song on the bus. We've got nowhere. I can absolutely understand why some people may feel like this is the way that we go. But it's up to Chelsea now to educate properly and use this example for the best way that we can, which is to absolutely identify that this is not okay. And as a result of that, we need to educate off the back of it that, yes, you might not want to kill every black man. Or if you're black and you don't like white people, you might not want to kill every white man. I don't think we're right there at the world anymore. But I certainly do understand that even the association of words and jest, and it still just should not be there in our society. And I absolutely condone the actions of all of those involved. And I think we need to do everything we can now to work on finding a way through this and out of this, but also accept that as a white person, I am never going to sit here in front of this camera and say to you, well, I wish the players would have just got over it, because real serious things need to happen here. Conversations need to happen. Reece James, Enzo Maresca, even the owners, if they want to, get Enzo Fernandez in a room with every player that has felt negatively impacted and affected by this, and have a conversation. And hopefully they can all work it out, and hopefully there can be an understanding that someone sometimes may still say something in the modern world, but that hatred isn't inside. And it's very difficult for me to say that and frame it in any kind of way without it seeming demeaning, or it's very difficult for me to be able to associate with the behavior for one, but also like I'm not being subjected to this, so I don't actually have the real empathy to know how it feels. Hope you guys can relate and understand to this too. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I hope this video has kind of portrayed my thoughts enough, but also like, yeah, this is an important issue and Chelsea are probably going to suffer as a result of this, but I think that should be a secondary thought to actually knowing how we move forward from this exact situation. Thoughts in the comments down below, please. I'll see you guys in a bit.